All right, so welcome to Trainer Toll Episode 1. We are literally at the Alamo, which I felt was a fitting first episode location given that we've spent so much time fighting over the damn thing. Um, we are going to talk a little bit about some of the frequently asked questions that we get today. Um, First, just a quick overview of the purpose for the channel. We keep writing guides and putting out information to Facebook and different places, and then I learned that about 10 or more websites, and every day somebody will send me a link to another website that copied this stuff, but it was literally a little local San Antonio group that we'd shared the content, and it was a list of things that had been discovered during the data mining, and I didn't even do the data mining. I just kind of compiled a list of like, hey, here's what happened, and all these websites were just stealing what I'd written, like word for word, copy paste. And so I argued with editors, and we tried to talk to people, but in the end, it's just a matter of getting the content put together in a way that's harder to steal. So now if they do, it's set up in that way. So all of the content and everything that's shared here, at least somebody would have to type it back up word for word. And Carrie's sending me nest locations right now. So a couple of the questions that we had, I got a list here printed out from the Facebook group, and I'll try to keep catching while answering the questions. A couple Garys. I'm assuming he means Gary Dose. Okay, do IVs work if you already have powered up the little dude with Stardust? So this is probably a topic that we'll cover quite a bit, is that the IVs are permanent. So whether you evolve it, whether you power it up, it's a modifier in the math that says that the base stats of that Pokemon are higher than the base stats of a different Pokemon. So every time he levels up, if he has a 15, the maximum attack IV, he's always going to have the maximum attack that he can have at that level. Think of it more as a range, I guess, than a fixed stat. So if a Charizard could have, I'm making this up, but like 200 attack, then a perfect IV would have 200, and a not perfect might have 160 or something like that. So the IVs are the internal values. So on the scale of 1 to 15 or 0 to 15, where does that particular Pokemon fall in? And so you can have attack, defense, and stamina. And stamina is the hit point number. So sometimes I'll find out that, I've got something really high attack, or I have something really high defense, or something really high stamina, and you weigh it like, okay, even though this is not perfect overall, this is something I want to keep because he's got a really high attack and I'm not really going to use him as a defender, or hey, this is something I intend to put on a lot of gyms and use as a defender, so then that's something that you want to use. But so the IVs, whether it's and this comes up in one of the other questions later on, do IVs carry over after an evolution? Absolutely, they do. They are perfect on that species. On that, so Charmander evolves to Charmeleon, he's going to carry over the IVs. Charmeleon evolves to Charizard, he's going to carry over the IVs. The IVs stays the same 100% of the time. So, and then the next question is: Pidgey farming still a good leveling strat post level 21? Unfortunately, there is no scaling in the game, right? And so if you do something at level 5 and you use it to get 1,000 XP, you're going to use it at level 30 and you're going to get the same amount of experience. And so that's why people talk about how bad the leveling curve is, because you need so much more experience to level up at a higher level than you do at a lower level. And so the experience needed to like for me right now, to hit level 30 from 29, I need 350,000 XP. And so, doing mass evolutions. Pikachu showed up on the lure. Did you guys see the Pikachu? Alamo is a great spot. I've caught a lot of Charmanders here, quite a few Pikachus here. Get in the ball, you little bastard. So, I mean, Pidgey's still a big part of my power leveling strategy, um, and we're literally starting to get rained on here at the Alamo. Okay, so we're picking up where we left off. It's not raining over here. We moved over to Corner Bakery, which is one of our favorite places with the tri-lure setup, which is great. Wanted to get back to the list and knock out as many of these questions as we can. It always seems to be the Zubats that gives you grief, right? All right, so is Pidgey farming still a good leveling strategy post level 21? Unfortunately, whether you're level 1 or you're level 40, you're doing the same stuff. There's a lot to catch here, which is good. Oh, that one's out of range. You don't get more XP for killing a gym if you're level 40 versus if you're level 10. So unfortunately, the same techniques that you would use to level, get in the damn ball. The same techniques that you would use to level while you're first starting out. It's the same techniques you're using later. The only thing I might say as an aside to that would be like gym leveling. So when you are when you're leveling up to when you find a high level gym, trying to multitask and throw Pokeballs while walking through this list is a challenge. All right, get in the ball. All right, whatever. You can sit. Okay, so when you find, and this happened to me, I was driving home the other night, and I saw a level 9 and a level 7 gym, and to me, that's like buffet material, right? Because I've got some pretty strong attackers. I can take down a level 10 gym by myself, and I'll definitely spend a lot of potions and a lot of revives and a lot of time to do it. But generally, I can I can take care of most gyms. So when you first attack a gym, you're getting 150 XP for attacking it at all and beating the first Pokemon that's defending. And so then you get credit for each additional Pokemon that you defeat. So if I was getting 1,900 experience per round through it. I popped Lucky Egg because the XP was so good. I was like, it might as well. It was better than doing a bunch of evolves. So I was going through these high level gyms, and it took an hour to do both. It took probably a little more than an hour to do both, but I picked up 20,000 experience or 23,000 experience or something like that after about an hour and a half of going through these high level gyms. So the advantage is that you have high level stuff if you are a high level, so you could probably beat the gyms, where a level 10 wouldn't be able to beat everything on a gym that's level 8 or 9 or whatever. And so the next question, I keep hearing about nests, but only referring to starters and Dratinis. Are there other Poke nests? There are absolutely nests of all kinds. A nest, and we're kind of starting to break down nests to talk about lesser nests and greater nests, where a greater nest might be like Auditorium Shores in South Austin, where there's 5 or 6 Charmanders up at any given time, and you can walk through and you can get like 10 or 15 Charmander in an hour. It's if you like Charizard like I do, it's a great place to go. So that's a greater nest. And then there's going to be lesser nests, like there's a Dratini or a Ghastly spawn downtown at a small park, and it's just 1 block by 1 block, the size of this park, but the spawn is not nearly as often. You might get 2 or 3 in an hour that spawn at all, and so it's a reliable place to get a couple, but it's not a reliable place if you really want to farm candy. There's been some controversy as to where a couple of Dratini spawns have shown up because One of them is in an apartment complex, and so there's debate as to whether or not people can go there or can't go there, and people are trying to find friends to get them to invite them in. And to my knowledge, the cops have been called, but the police have not actually given anybody a ticket. But you have to be kind of careful about where you go, and make sure that you're not pissing anybody off, and you're not in a trespassing situation. But at a major nest like that for Dratini, we were able to farm 1 Dragonite per night, basically, which is 30 Dratini, 35 Dratini, something like that. So you can get quite a few in a few hours at one of those major spots. So, but there are also Rhyhorn nests. There's a Rhyhorn nest downtown. There are, there's Bulbasaur nests, and there's all sorts of nests. So, long answer short, there are nests for everything. You just have to find them. The next question, Porygon. He seems super rare. I've only seen one at a gym, and only that one time. Is he good or just super rare? I do not have a Porygon, but my wife has 2, and she hatched them both out of eggs. So I hope to someday have a Porygon, but as it stands now, I've not heard of a spawn point for them, but that doesn't mean that it's not, that it's not out there. It could be, just in a neighborhood I haven't tried yet, or it could be that, the spawns for them are very rare. But I have not heard of one, so take what you will from that. A quick, easy way to make judgment on which Pokemon to keep versus which one to transfer when they have similar stats. This is a pretty complex question, and I think that probably is something that warrants an entire how do IVs work video. So I will get back to that one. Do IVs carry over after an evolution? And we covered that a little bit earlier, where if the Charmander has perfect IVs, and I have my Charizard is 98.7, so I want to say his stamina is 14 out of 15, but everything else is 15, so attack and defense are 15. So his IVs are very, very good, almost perfect. But Arbok. Some people talk about it's a high level, it's a high level, later evolution. But really, if you already have the thing, all that is a Ekans candy. And if you're wondering why I'm just throwing Pokeballs at it, I try not to waste my Ultra Balls on my Great Balls unless it's something that I need, or some type of candy that I'm farming for. And Ekans falls into that category where he takes too many to evolve, and so as far as leveling up, I always have too many Pokeballs because we drive around downtown and hit Pokestops, and so generally I don't really mind. You throw enough Pokeballs, you usually catch stuff unless it's something like an Abra that runs away really easily. But he's a 316, so he's not really worth anything to me. Okay, so yes, IVs do carry over after evolution. IVs are permanent. They carry that with that Pokemon for its entire life. And there's no way currently, nor is there any way in the original games, to change an IV. Whatever the IV is for that Pokemon when it's born are the same. Now, EVs, which are not in this game, can be leveled up, but that doesn't come into play in this game. If you catch a Pokemon with maximum IV percentages, do you have to max its CP before evolving it? Again, the CP is a calculation of the total stats, so you don't have to worry about whether or not you power it up or whether or not you evolve it. You could power it all the way up and then evolve it. You could never power it up and then evolve it. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do. The IVs are going to stay the same. Regardless of what you do to that Pokemon, because it's math on a scale. So if you power it up once, if it's this level, if it's this level, it's always going to stay the same. I am level 7, but I haven't been able to pick a team yet. What am I doing wrong? Whenever you're trying to get on a team and forgive me if this might seem obvious to a lot of people, but we want to make sure that we're covering all the questions that get asked. The quick answer is you have to click on a gym before you can join a team. So, and clicking on the gym is what actually triggers that decision. And we would hope that you would make the correct team instinct decision. Although whatever team your friends are is probably the right team for you to join. Although we have seen a few couples that have been different teams, which is pretty funny to see because they're not really sure what to do when there's an event on or something like that, and they're getting split up. But hey, that could be better for their relationship if they're kind of separated just a little bit. Is it better to keep a creature with high CP and low attack, or a creature with low CP but high attacks? Let me get out of this, or actually we'll use this Pidgey as the example here. So down on his attacks, we've got quick attack for 10 and aerial ace for 25. But then you can see that the aerial ace has 4 potential attacks that he can do with 1 full energy bar. And so what that question is referring to is, do you want an attack, a secondary attack with a higher, like a 50 or like a hyper beam that does a lot? This number here can be misleading because the game doesn't tell you what the speed is of the attack. And so even though quick attack says it attacks for 10, which seems really high, the speed gets into the calculations, and so that can there might be attacks that are quicker than quick attack, and so it might say 5, but it might actually do more DPS than the one that's listed as 10. So hopefully that answers your question. Not all moves are as clear as just what it says. But if you go to thesilphroad.com/research, there's a big long list of moves, and they're rated by DPS. So you can see right there, this one has this attack, this one has this attack. And actually, this jumps me ahead to another question. Do the moves that a Charmander knows impact the moves that a Charizard knows when he has been evolved? As far as we know, and there might be some tiny higher chance to keep the same moves or something like that, but again, that's pure speculation. As far as we know, the moves you get when you evolve are completely random. So there was an early theory about if you evolved an Eevee that had Dig, it would be this or that, but that's, as far as we know to date, the moves you get when you evolve are completely random. Does time of day change how many Pokemon show up at a nest? Absolutely. We have seen Ghastly that only spawn at night. We've seen Ghastly that spawn at noon. And so it might be that certain certain Pokemon that evolve or that fall into a different category, that are dark type and whatnot, might appear later. There's an area near a college here where you can get Seal somewhat reliably. I still need 4 more, or something like that to get my Dugong, but that is certainly they start to spawn at about 7:30. So time of day can absolutely affect that. Which brings us to the next question that somebody asked: are spawns random? Could you not sit in one spot and catch them all? And this person said that they saw a lot of spawns that they didn't see in that area before, so they're wondering, does it keep changing? There is a within the family of what could spawn in the place. So you're going to see Magikarp and Goldeen and Dratini and Horsey in a water location, and Geodude and rock types in a rocky location and whatnot. Everything within that family could spawn, but each time a spawn point triggers and something appears, it's all based on the same rarity scale. So, and the rarity scale changes based on where that location is. I've seen it based on keywords, to where that apartment complex has legends in the name, and so we think that might be one of the reasons why the Dratini spawned there, because it says legend. And so they've worked in some reads on Google Maps to where it influences in that way. The difference between extra small and extra large, and no size. As far as we know, again, there is no. There's an Eevee hiding behind me. As far as we know, there's no correlation between stats. That is a really good Eevee. some people have thought that extra small Pokemon attack faster or it affects move speed. There's nothing that we've uncovered in the data mining that would indicate that the speed or any stat whatsoever. Some people have said, oh, the extra large have higher hit points. Extra small, extra large, normal sized Pokemon just seem to be a kind of flavor stat within the game, so that you can see, oh, I caught this and it's a big one, or, But as far as we know, there's not actually anything. There's not actually any stat to that. And then the last question I have here is, how do I catch a Ditto? And that's a really cool question, because at the San Diego Comic-Con panel, they talked about the Easter eggs that have been found. So an example of the Easter egg would be the Rainer, Pyro, and Sparky nicknames for Eevee to control what they evolve into. And that is 100% true. It does work. There's a little bit of debate as to whether or not it works the second time, whether or not you can keep doing it for the same, to get a bunch of Vaporeons, because Vaporeons are amazing. But the developer said during that panel that a lot of people have not found other Easter eggs that are out there, and so there's some discussion on, like, you have to take a photo of a Bulbasaur, and you can and that triggers it to turn into a Ditto. But that was the Pokemon Snap rule to get it to appear. So I'm thinking that there's some sort of something you can do, and then it causes something to be something else, but no one has figured out what it is yet, which is pretty cool. That even though with this many people taking the data apart for the game, and this many people playing the game and reporting what they find, and all the people on Reddit that usually tear everything apart to find the secrets, the secret of the Ditto has not yet been unlocked. So he's not just going to spawn. He's not just going to be over there and it's like, oh, it's a Ditto. Like, some sort of Easter egg, in theory, is involved with what's going on with Ditto. So they were hoping that at the Comic-Con they were going to release some of the legendary birds and whatnot. Story of our lives, right? Sitting between two Zubats. It's all sorts of cool stuff when we got here. Now there's not. But the Mew, Mewtwo, Zapdos, Moltres, and Articuno have not been released into the wild yet. It will definitely be part of an event. It will definitely be something that you probably have to travel for, something that I will probably rage about that I won't be able to travel for. But they said that it's probably going to be a little while until they make sure that the servers are stable so that the game can support having all those people out, and a bunch of people wouldn't have some sort of server problem that would cause them not to get the legendary bird after driving all that way to attend the event, because that would really suck. So they're definitely working on it, which is good to hear. That they're not just kind of rushing stuff out. Not ready yet. Come on, give me eggs. Nope. But yeah, so that is our first Q&A episode. You can follow us on Facebook at Trainer Toll, and same on Twitter and Instagram as well. And if you guys have any questions or you want us to cover anything in any of the future episodes, please just drop us a comment, and we'll see if we can get an answer out to you. So yeah, thanks for listening.